07:48 a.m., July 12, 1943. You are 19 years old and you are driving blind. Dust fills your vision slit like smoke. Somewhere ahead, through the haze, a shape moves. Gray, angular, too big to be one of yours. Your commander's boot slams your right shoulder. Turn, now. You wrench the lever. The engine screams. 40 tons of steel groans sideways, and in that half-second, you understand something simple and terrible. If that shape sees you before you close the distance, you are already dead. You push the throttle to the floor. 6 hours earlier, none of this exists yet. You are Alexei, driver-mechanic T-34, 3rd Company. You slept, barely, under the hull, wedged between the track and the cold earth, your greatcoat pulled over your face against the mosquitoes. Before sleep, you wrote to your mother in Kazan. You didn't tell her where you were. You never do. You just told her the wheat must be tall by now and that you think of her kitchen, the smell of bread, the quiet. Your loader, Grigory, sleeps beside you. He's 22, from a village you've never heard of, and he snores like a bear. Last night he told you, half joking, that if he dies, you're to eat his share of sugar ration. You told him to shut up and sleep. Somewhere behind the tree line, German engines are already turning over. You don't know that yet. What you do know is this: the tank you drive is fast, low, and sloped, built to survive things that would kill other machines. What you also know, though nobody says it aloud, is that the guns waiting for you today can kill you from farther away than you can kill them back. Above you, the sky is still the color of ash, not yet decided whether it will be a clear day or a gray one. It feels, for a moment, like it doesn't matter either way. It won't stay quiet for long. Reveille comes without a bugle, just Sergeant Titov's flashlight, dragged across your face. Breakfast is kasha, lukewarm, eaten standing beside the tank. Grigory complains there's no salt. Your gunner, an older man named Pavlov who fought at Stalingrad, says nothing. He's already checking the main gun's traverse, over and over, like a man counting rosary beads. You check your tank the way your mother checked her stove, by feel, by instinct, by years of habit worn into muscle. Track tension, fuel. The diesel engine, heavier fuel, less likely to flash fire than the petrol engines some other nations use, though you don't know that word. Advantage. You only know it's one less thing to fear, out of many. Your vision slit is narrow, barely wider than 2 fingers. Once the hatch is closed, once the dust rises, you will see almost nothing. You will drive by Titov's boots on your shoulders. Left shoulder, turn left. Right shoulder, turn right. A tap on your back, stop. It sounds absurd. A grown man steered like a horse. It is also the only system that works when the radio in your tank, one of the older models, doesn't. While you work, a boy from the supply column passes by handing out mail. Nothing for you today. Grigory gets a letter from his sister and reads it twice, silently, before folding it into his boot, the safest place he knows. Orders come down at 0600. Whispered first, then confirmed. The Germans are pushing armor toward Prokhorovka. Tigers. Panthers. Tanks with guns that can open you up at 1,500 meters, long before your own gun could ever answer back. Titov gathers the crew close. We don't fight them far, he says. We fight them close. Inside their own gun barrels if we have to. That's the only way we live today. Nobody speaks. Pavlov just nods, slow, like a man agreeing to a debt he already knew he owed. Grigory touches his boot, where his sister's letter sits, as if checking it's still there. You climb into your seat. The hatch closes above you. The world shrinks to a sliver of light and the smell of diesel and sweat. Somewhere out there, hundreds of tanks are moving toward each other across the same few kilometers of wheat field. You feel the engine come alive beneath you like something breathing. For one last moment, before the noise begins, you think of the wheat fields back home and wonder if they look anything like this one. The order comes at 0730, advance. Then it isn't an order anymore. It's a wall of sound. Engines, hundreds of them, metal on earth, shaking the ground before you even see anything. Titov's boot taps your shoulder. Forward. You go. Dust rises immediately, thick, choking the slit of light you drive by. You can't see the field, you can only see gray and shapes inside the gray, and trust that Titov's boots know more than your eyes do. Radio chatter crackles, half words, static, someone screaming a coordinate that means nothing to you. A flash, far to your left, then the sound arrives a half-second later, a crack like the sky splitting. Somewhere, a T-34 is burning. You don't look, you can't. Looking means slowing down, and slowing down means dying. Titov's boot taps right, hard. You turn. Grigory is loading the gun with hands that don't shake, though his voice does, low, muttering something that might be a prayer, or might just be his sister's name. The shape ahead grows, gray steel, angular, a silhouette you've only seen in briefings, long gun barrel, thick front plate. A tiger. At this range, its gun could kill you before you even finish reading this sentence. You have one choice. Close the gap before it sees you clearly enough to fire. Your foot presses the throttle flat to the floor. The engine howls. The hull rattles so hard your teeth ache. Somewhere behind you, another crew isn't as fast or as lucky, and the sound that follows is one you will hear again in your sleep for the rest of your life, however long that turns out to be. The world becomes noise and motion and nothing else. Titov screams a heading. You can't hear the words, only the rhythm of his boots, translating chaos into direction. Left, left, forward. A shell screams past, close enough that the air itself seems to flinch, and buries itself in the earth behind you, throwing a fountain of dirt across the hull. Pavlov's voice, sharp, range, 300 meters, close enough now that the fight is no longer about who sees whom first, it's about who fires first, and who's faster reloading. Grigory slams a shell home, his movement suddenly steady, all doubt burned away by the only thing left that matters. Pavlov's voice again, tight, on target. The gun fires, the whole hull shudders with it, your teeth rattling in your skull. Through the slit you see it, the German tank slowing, smoke beginning to curl from its hull. There's no time to feel anything about it. Another shape appears from the dust to your right. Titov's boot slams your back. Stop, then left, hard. You throw the tank sideways. Something screams past where you'd have been a half-second earlier. For a moment, everything is fire and dust and the smell of diesel and burnt metal, and you cannot tell if the sound filling your ears is your own engine or someone else's tank dying. Somewhere close, you hear the specific, terrible sound every T-34 crewman knows and fears. The dull whump of a hull catching fire, followed by shapes scrambling free through smoke, or not scrambling at all. You don't have time to see which. You only have time to keep moving. Then, slowly, the noise begins to thin. Not silence. Never silence, not really. But space enough to breathe. You are alive. Grigory is alive. Pavlov is alive. Titov's boot taps your shoulder once, gently this time. Hop. You do. You sit in the driver's seat for a long moment after the engine idles down, hands still gripping levers you no longer need to hold. Grigory laughs, a strange, shaking laugh, relief with nowhere else to go. He touches his boot again, feels his sister's letter still there, and this time he doesn't hide the relief on his face. Pavlov climbs out first and stands looking at the field. Burned hulls, some German, some Soviet, scattered across the wheat like something torn apart by giants. He doesn't say anything. He just looks, the way a man looks at a debt finally paid, though not without cost. That evening, you finish the letter to your mother. You still don't tell her where you are or what happened. You only add one line, that you're alive and thinking of her and that the wheat back home must be tall by now. You don't know yet whether it will reach her. Mail from the front is slow, uncertain, sometimes lost entirely. But you fold it anyway and hand it to the courier, because hope doesn't need certainty to survive. Whether Alexei lived beyond that week, history doesn't record. Thousands like him don't have names in the archives, only numbers, only unit reports, only wheat fields that swallowed both sides equally. He was 19. He drove a machine he trusted with his life, half blind, guided by a boot on his shoulder and a faith he never spoke aloud. Multiply him by 500,000 men, on both sides, in that single field, on that single day. Tomorrow, you'll sit inside a different hatch, across the same field, driving a tiger, watching the gray shapes come at you out of the dust.